On tonight's episode, we have John Druska, writer, actor, and bowler. We'll be right back. It kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go lefty.
No, we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion into the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast.
What's up, bowlers? Welcome to Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is the producer.
It's weird being over here.
And assistant to the host today,
Very
representing Anthony's chair.
Usually I'm standing up.
Austin VanBuren.
You guys gave me a chair today.
It's very weird having you sit down.
It is
odd. Next
feels
to
weird.
Yeah.
Feels weird.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. You can download and listen via your favorite podcast service if you can't watch us live on YouTube or Facebook. Email us at downlanepod@gmail.com if you guys have any questions or feedback, or you just want to talk with us, because
You can make fun of Kyle.
Cool. That's very easy to do.
Kyle checks email.
Very easy to make fun of me. So Austin, how was your week this week?
It was good.
Yeah,
I bowled well this week
that's good.
and last week.
You're in the finals of Monday Night NFL League.
Finals of the Monday Night League. Second time.
Yeah.
See if we can get a second win.
Oh, that's right. You've already won the
I have
NFL
won
League.
that league.
You're unbelievable. You're just
Hey,
your
works
hand.
out sometimes.
Your hand has been touched by God.
I did shoot 800 at Town in their three-man trio tournament.
You got a streak going, and you're refusing to sign up for the Players Tour next weekend.
Yeah, house shot's easy.
Yes, house shots are easy. Congratulations.
And I had an 800 two Thursdays ago. I
Hot
wasn't
streak.
here last week. Sorry, guys.
Hot streak. And you bowling the Drexel doubles this weekend
I'm on the wait list with Brett Groff,
for which shift?
so we'll see both.
Oh, all right. With the Brett Groff experience.
Yeah, man.
That's good. That's good.
I love bowling with Brett.
So yeah, just a couple things before we get John in here.
Hold on a second.
Whoa.
How did you bowl? How are you doing? How's your week?
It's always mediocre. No tournaments this past weekend, so that's good. Started the adult junior league though, with my son, bowling with Ethan.
Oh, a summer league?
Mm-hmm. Just 4 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Is he whooping your butt yet?
It was close. I did not bowl good on Saturday morning. I got like 2 shots of practice in, which my aging old man body needs a lot more time to warm up. And 10 minutes is just not enough to warm up.
Did you let him go two-handed yet?
That's all he does is two-handed. Zach's one-handed with a thumb.
Is Zach still
Ethan,
one-handed? That's the one I meant to ask.
he won't do it. He's messed around with it jokingly, but my guess is by the time he gets to like middle school or high school and all of the two-handers are just dominating, he'll be like, all right, it's time. That's my guess.
Or is he going to make you rich and be a star in another sport? Have you thought
Okay,
about it?
I was about to say no bowling is going to make anybody rich. However, you did say another sport, so that makes a lot of sense. We are trying golf. Yeah, so we already hit the driving range.
Hey,
so,
Masters is on.
Yeah.
I could talk for hours about that.
The
So
other
we should
green
probably
jacket.
the other green jacket. Man, thank you HBO.
Yeah. Well, so without further ado, because it's enough rambling from Austin and I, we shall invite writer, actor, and bowler. What do you want to say? Passionate bowler, John Druska, to the show. So it's going to give us a second here.
I wish I could hit the applause button, but
It's right here. It's one of
I
these.
forget which one it is.
John,
And
can
the-
you hear us? I can't see you, but can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Look, it's
His
a
screen
blank
is just
screen.
frozen.
I wonder if something's going on with the stream today. Of course, when we have a guest all the way from, where are you from, John?
I'm living in Los Angeles now. I grew up in Chicago.
Ooh.
Beautiful weather. We won't talk about how the state's being run, but it's beautiful weather regardless in LA, right?
Yeah, we could maybe skip that other comment. But, although, as somebody who lives here, I would know a hell of a lot more about it than anybody
You are
else.
absolutely
Yes, you
correct,
would.
because it's been a while since I've been there. But maybe you look a little frozen, so you could also hit your refresh button, and then it'll bring you back in. And then maybe yeah.
He's
So we'll
gonna
let John
hop back in.
refresh.
He'll be right back, folks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
it's
Go ahead. Sorry, I was just gonna say,
jumped in.
yeah, John.
Welcome back. John's back.
John has a bowling show that he's writing, so that's what we're going to be talking about. Let's see if he's back here. Hey,
Welcome
he's
back.
alive.
There
What's
we
up,
go.
John? There we go. John Druska, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes that happens when we have guests or with the internet stream or what have you. So
When you have a portable setup, it's tough.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, John. You said you're from LA. You enjoy the sport, so give us a little background.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks a lot for having me. You know, I appreciate the stage here. But yeah, I grew up in the Midwest in Chicago predominantly. You know, a lot of local bowling joints growing up in Berwyn, Illinois. So just started playing when I was young. You know, was on the high school team, went to the state championships my junior year in East St. Louis, Illinois, and moved out here when I was 22 to pursue show business, to pursue acting and writing and that sort of thing. And I've had a lot of gigs and you know, inching towards piecing those together into a career. But you know, did a good number of commercials when I was a little younger in my 20s, and I've got some TV and film credits and that sort of thing. And you know, most of my professional success has been acting, but I'm also a writer. And you know, that leads me to this project I have had kind of ready to go and loaded up for many years now. But it's a single cam bowling sitcom called Rollin'. That I'm very proud of. And that's why I reached out to you guys. I wanted to, you know, get plugged into the world a little bit more and just do a little self-promotion because, you know, show business is a hustle and it's nice to have agents and managers, but the best promotion is still self-promotion. So here I am.
Yeah, I want to talk about the show, obviously, but maybe we'll tease that for a minute. I want to hear about this high school bowling experience, going to the state championships, when this was, where it was, Midwest. It was what I guess I'll consider that state. That's considered almost kind of Midwest-ish or central U.S.
Oh, Illinois, I think is the heart of it. Yeah, Illinois or Indiana is kind of smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, and that's a big bowling area, like big competitive bowling area.
Yeah, so you know, in truth, I went to an egghead school. I went to a Catholic college prep. So athletics took a back seat to most things, and you know, bowling took a back seat to most athletics. But it was my passion, and it was what I liked. So we went because I think we just had one of those kind of legacy spots that got you into the finals every year. And most years, my school I don't think could even field a team. But the couple of years I did it, we had a good enough squad or a large enough squad. So we got to pile into one of those short buses and, you know, road trip 6 or 7 hours to the very southern tip of the state. And to give you an idea of kind of where I am now with my game and where I was at the time, that trip to East St. Louis at the state championships was the first time I ever cracked 200. So
Whoa.
So I have vivid fond memories of that trip, but we were not, you know, there was a kid a couple lanes down from us who broke 300 more than once that afternoon. So
Come on.
we were never really, you know, in the money or in the hunt for placing, but it was a cool, you know, for somebody who's not much of an athlete, it was a cool experience, especially at that age.
Yeah, it gives you that kind of like stage, if you will, for someone that doesn't get the sports stage, like at the baseball stadium or at the football field or whatever, Friday Night Lights type of stuff. But yeah, when you make it to the big show, if you will, when you're in states, both of us have gone to the state championships. Yep. There's 200 kids in there bowling at a 80 lane center. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and you know, just walking in, I mean, I can't help but think of the opening sequence of Kingpin, but you know, just walking into a place like that's chock full and there's just nonstop action going on and it's packed and you got your ball and you're all wearing the same uniform. You know, those are iconic memories no matter what the discipline is. I got my Letterman jacket. I got my letter in bowling, so I got that.
I didn't get a Letterman jacket.
I didn't buy one either. Yeah, no,
I didn't buy the jacket, but I have.
You actually got it?
Yeah.
Or you just got the letter, you mean?
I got just the letter.
Oh yeah, me too. I got that too. Yeah. But I did not. Yeah, there was no way I was like sporting the Letterman jacket, if you will.
Yeah, that was.
What did you do?
By the early 2000s, that was over with. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when I graduated, was in 04, and like it was still a thing. Guys would, like the football players and the baseball players, they of course would. The wrestlers, they would get them all.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw one wearing one riding a motorcycle last week.
Did it say bowling?
No, it did not say bowling, but he was sporting it.
Yeah,
and there was multiple patches on there.
Got to get your New York State Public High School Athletic Association patch on there.
No, thanks.
Yeah, so that's I think that's it's like you said, it's a great memory. Like some of my most fond bowling memories are from high school and collegiate bowling.
Era,
I mean, team bowling is, I've said it many times. Team bowling is an amazing adrenaline rush and experience. Like the college was awesome, and then now when we bowl as adults, now we go to nationals, and that's all over the country every year, and it's the same thing. It's 5-man teams, and you're just pumped. You are amped up. And just the team environment is so different than the singles environment when you're just you and you're trying to block everybody else out, and it's a lot more tame, if you will. But yeah, it's an awesome experience for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you mentioned Kingpin. Are you a bowling movie connoisseur, even though there's only like 2 of them?
There's not a lot. Yeah, I mean, I love King. There's swaths of the dialogue I have memorized. And hot take, I do like The Big Lebowski, but to me, that's just sort of a Coen brothers, kind of crime dramedy. I mean, I know there's a lot of bowling in it, but it's kind of like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
Right.
I am one of those people who, I don't know that bowling is not the first thing I think about when I think of Lebowski, shocking as that is.
No, I 100% understand where you're coming from. Bowling is part of it. It's not the story.
Exactly.
Whereas Kingpin is the story.
Bowling is really, main character of the Lebowski.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah. However, an awesome movie nonetheless.
No doubt. Yeah.
You can spend a couple hours
out here in LA. I've never gone, but they do a Lebowski fest every year where
no way.
Everybody dresses up like the dude, and they're all drinking White Russians, and they screen the movie, and all that. So.
That's fantastic.
That's interesting. No, they don't do anything like that around us.
No. Completely unrelated to The Big Lebowski. It's really sad. I'm a bowler, but man, do I love a White Russian, as my friends know, because
especially when you're in Vermont.
Yeah, I've knocked a few back at some tournaments, and it did not end well. But yes, I like a couple of weeks ago. There's Jeremy. He knew where I was going with that one. Jeremy's one of our buddies. He's in the comments here, and he knows for sure that I caused a little bit of an issue with the White Russians the last time in Vermont. But yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I started off a tournament. I was out late the night before, and I needed a little pick me up, if you will, and that was my morning.
That was your
drink of choice.
Really, a White Russian peps you up, huh?
Well, it's not exactly maybe pick me up is maybe a hair of the dog is a better word. Maybe,
okay, yeah,
maybe better phrase.
Yeah,
trying to ease those nerve endings,
Yeah, Jeremy's talking about how I had so many that I set my calculator as my alarm.
Did it wake you up
for the tournament the next morning? No, but for somehow, some way, I showed up 2 minutes before the squad started.
Did you really show up though?
Well, my body was there. I was present. Showing up is a whole nother story when it comes to the lanes.
Yeah.
So we've been watching. Well, have you watched any of the episodes of Born to Bowl yet?
I'm waiting until it is all the episodes are out. I'm a binge watcher.
Okay. So yeah, they've been doing weekly installments. I'm not sure if you've been able to catch it at all, but I gotta say, of bowling, between the bowling movies, and there was another documentary. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. When was that? It had to be in the early 2000s. A League of Ordinary Gentlemen, and that was about Pete Weber and I'm trying to blank on a couple other guys that they followed, but but it was cool. It was different. But I got to say that this HBO documentary, and I touched on this last week, but the HBO documentary is absolutely fantastic. Like, it is so well done. It is a real doc. It is
you want the list
of what?
Pete Weber, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Chris Barnes, Wayne Webb. Wow, Wayne Webb.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name.
It was the end
time.
of his career. Yeah.
There was another one, The Bad Boy of Bowling.
About
Pete Weber.
Yeah. But yeah, so A League of Ordinary Gentlemen was really cool. And it was kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with the PBA in the early 2000s, but these Microsoft gentlemen kind of took their money that they earned from that and then bought the PBA because the PBA was collapsing. And it actually worked for a little while.
That's actually back when I kind of watched it a little more closely.
Okay.
It was back in like kind of my high school and college era. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you remember that when they were doing intros, kind of like how darts does it now. I don't know if you've ever seen these videos of darts where these guys come out and they're like absolute rock stars.
Yeah,
dude, it was crazy. I mean, PBA did it a little bit, but not how darts does it. And I don't know
that speaks to what we were talking about, the high school experience. I mean, that's what's going through my mind as I'm waltzing into the alley, you know?
Yeah. And like,
if I'm lucky, there's like a sick song on the jukebox too.
And the funny thing is, like, with bowling, you can sit right there. You are on the lane. You're right behind the guys bowling, and you can watch it. And there's only like, I don't know, 50 to maybe 100 people in the bowling alley because you can only fit so many in that small little area. But then you go watch darts, and there's 1,000 people in the arena, packed. Like it's at like Mohegan Sun or something, or wherever like is a small little arena, but it's absolutely packed, like you said. And you're watching a dartboard that is 18 inches wide. How wide's a freaking dartboard? And you're like a mile away. Of course, there's screens and stuff, but it's just like, it's so weird how there's a contrast where you've got these 1,000 people or 2,000 people watching this tiny little dartboard, and you could sit right there with the lanes and the pins and the bowlers. You're like right there on top of the bowlers, and we just don't get the same kind of love, if you will. But we don't have those guys taking in the big rock star moment.
Yeah. I think we just have a giant lack of funding.
Well, there's marketing and funding, and the sponsors got to be there, man.
Which is the worst part of the bowling side of things. Well, like how many specific sponsors are you really going to garner before you get those large dollar, high volume sponsors?
Well, it's all about the views, man. Go ahead, John.
You know, Austin, you mentioned golf earlier, or no, Kyle, you mentioned you're getting your son into golf. You know, that makes me think there's the event down in Arizona every year. I think it's the Waste Management Open.
Oh yeah, crazy.
And you know, that's a whole nother can of worms. But you know, they cultivate like just inappropriate behavior. Basically.
Oh yeah, it is. I agree.
So, all professional bowling needs is one of those. You know, I know there's logistics, but you know, you get the crowd next to the lanes too. You know, you could probably quadruple your crowd size doing that, and just hype it up as, you know, this is the Thunderdome tournament, and you know, start there and see if you can build out some interest from that.
Interestingly,
the National Bowling Stadium would be perfect for that.
Well, there's that, but they were going to Portland and Portland, Maine, and there's a bowling center there. It's I don't even know how to describe. What's the freaking name of it?
The one
in Portland, where the lumberjack. So they were doing a team event, right? The PBA was, and it was all about, like, everyone was there to party. So they did kind of
Bayside Bowl.
Bayside, yes, thank you. They did kind of have that environment, and like they, if you watch it now, it's like everybody's dead silent. It's kind of like golf. Everybody's dead silent, and then when they throw a ball or strike or whatever, big explosion, right? Yeah. But this was like they didn't stop. They just let them go. And some guys liked it, some guys didn't. Doesn't matter. But it was like the environment that you're talking about. But now we haven't been back. Now they're not there anymore.
The PBA playoffs, Elias Cup. If you watch any videos on that, you'll get a good idea of
you just got to look up
could be in bowling. Because I think they had a hit there. I think they picked the wrong tournaments and events. For that,
I could see what you're saying there. Also, it's all the way up in Portland, Maine, and that you could actually watch it. So there would be like 4 or 5 days in a row that they'd be televised, and it was the same people in the crowd kind of moved around to different spots. So that
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a little sad to see that, but they were having a grand old time. That's for sure. They would get all dressed up in costumes and stuff, and they were
Signs and all.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good environment.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're talking about. But so back to I just want to touch on the HBO thing real quick too. Is like I said, the documentary is extremely well done. It's like I said, it was like a real doc, and it actually is emotional, and it like draws you in. It's the real bowlers. They're swearing and whatever. Some people kind of don't like that, but it's like, hey man, this is what they do
Real life.
when they're bowling, when they're competing for money, and when it's their job. You know what I mean? Like they have emotions. They're intense. So it's a real, if you get a chance to catch it, it's a really, really good documentary. And hopefully, kind of like you were saying, it brings attention to the game, gets more people interested in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And more eyes on bowling equals more sponsors equals more money. And then you have, what were we talking about? That Smallwood show.
Oh, How We Roll.
How We Roll.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you catch any of those episodes?
Not really. I know a couple of people who worked on that show. And whatever, a gig's a gig and more power to them. But my thoughts on that is that, again, that was not that could have been a retired plumber comes home,
right,
and deals with that. That was a very straightforward, paint by numbers sitcom, again, respectfully to everybody who worked on it, because it still takes, creativity and artistry to make that happen. But that is not what, my project Rollin' is like at all. Rollin' it would be perfect for, an HBO style streaming circumstance or something along those lines. It's single cam. So that's the way, It's Always Sunny is filmed, or, Scrubs. How We Roll is multicam, which is that very traditional kind of Seinfeld sitcom setup. So even me calling, Rollin' is a comedy for sure, but even calling it a sitcom kind of does it a disservice, because I think a lot of people draw a parallel between How We Roll and just, that more kind of safe rated G comedy. And, Rollin' is not like horribly foul mouthed, but, it's real,
it's
and
bowling.
there's real stakes, and there's flawed protagonists, and it's bowling, like you said. Yeah.
So what made you, I mean, I know you said you have kind of a passion for bowling. What made you say, like, this is what I want in a show, this is what I want to write about? Can you give away any of, like, I know you said you have the first season written at least. Do you give away any kind of, like, what is the story about? Like, tell us a little bit about, like, the main character or something like that.
I'll gladly talk. I'll walk you through it page by page if you want. I might need a second or third episode, but no, dude, I remember the first time I ever went bowling. I was 9. I had actually just moved to this new town, and I didn't even quite have friends yet, but all the kids were going to the bowling alley, and it was my first time in there, and the sound and the visuals struck me. And then this is before I knew I ever wanted to be an actor. I was just like, man, this is a stimulating environment, and as by the time I'm on the team in high school and rolling regularly, I just knew that it's a very, and I know that Born to Bowl does this too. It's just such a cinematic sport. And I do think there's something, there's something comedic naturally about how powerful and how awesome a perfect strike is, but this strange sort of awkward, physicality that's required to earn it. There's a juxtaposition there that is just naturally humorous to me. So I had ideas for something in a bowling alley going back to high school and college, and I tried to write a movie with a buddy of mine back in the day. So just that, a bowling alley comedy, that's been an idea in my head for 20 or 25 years. And it was honestly probably close to 10 years ago, I finally began to really hone in on this specific story of Rollin', on the characters, and then the world, around the bowling alley. And, within about a year, I banged out the first season, 10 episodes. They're all about 30 pages long. And I was like, okay, good. It leaves the possibility for a second season, but I kind of wrapped it up in a nice bow. There's enough of an end to where if this was it, that's good enough.
Sure.
But I just couldn't stop, so I wrote a second season, and I don't think I'm going to write any more until I get my deal with Netflix or HBO. But I do have basically about a 5-season plan. I have notes of where this keeps going. So that was the birth of it. And I came up in sketch comedy. When I moved to LA, I started doing live sketch comedy. It's kind of ancient history now, but about 12 years ago, I got flown out to New York and I tested for Saturday Night Live. So
Nice.
I've been close to some big opportunities in my career. I think Roland is obviously it's tailor-made for me. I wrote it for myself, but yeah, that's where the initial idea came from, just sort of love of the game and recognizing this is just such a visually appealing world.
Yeah.
As well as the athleticism behind it, that I wanted to tell a story and keep us there in that bowling alley.
Did you get to side note? Did you get to audition in front of Lauren, or is that like the last step?
Yes. Yeah. No. I went to the last step basically.
Oh, cool.
I submitted a video with some characters and impressions. Then there was a live showcase here in Los Angeles. And then they flew me out to New York. It was me and about 20 other people. And this is the year they hired Pete Davidson.
Wow.
I was on that stage, where the host stands every Saturday.
Yeah. And is he like an enigma? Like he seems like he's just like that guy that like is really hard to nail down or something.
I didn't like meet him, I didn't shake his hand. It's very dimly lit in there. And then you can off to one corner, at least in my experience, there's a table with a couple lamps on it, which is where the head writers were. I think Colin Jost was the head writer at the time. Okay. So there's probably about a dozen people in there. And I just sort of caught a glimpse of Lorne because the lamp ends about here and the light kind of fall,
you see the top of his face.
Yeah. Yeah. And they, you hear that like you won't get any laughs and like they make it as hard on you as possible. And they certainly didn't make it easy, but like you would get a couple chuckles. I don't know who was chuckling. I don't know if it was Lorne or Jost or somebody else, but I got a little bit of positive feedback. And overall, I mean, I wouldn't change a thing about how I executed that day. It just, turns out they didn't want a seasoned actor with 10 years of sketch comedy experience.
I mean, think about all of the people that have not made it onto Saturday Night Live that are absolutely massive. Like I think Jim Carrey was turned down, right? As an example.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think both Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele auditioned and didn't get it, and obviously they ended up doing their own thing. So yeah, you're right. The list of those who have almost made it is almost more impressive than those who have. So
and also probably a lot longer. Has to be. Oh, it has to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I told you the year I was there, I was one of 20, and they hired one guy that year.
Right.
And those are just the ones that made it to New York.
Right. Let alone all the videos. Yeah. So what's the storyline here? Are we following like a single person, or are we following like the people that work or attend or whatever the bowling center, or like what's the kind of like I don't know, the storyline, I guess.
Yeah. So it's an ensemble comedy, an ensemble cast. So there's 4 main characters, and they end up being the 4 people on our main team. And in the pilot episode, there's one dude who's still like in it at the local bowling alley. That's kind of all he has left. He's divorced. He's probably an alcoholic. He needs to win these leagues to just kind of get by and make money. And the big league is the Tuesday night fall league. And that's what they used to kind of run back in the day in their youth. And the pilot episode is him sort of bouncing around town and trying to assemble this dream team because he's basically burned every other bridge of the regular bowlers.
Oh man.
He's got to get his old crew together.
Nice.
And the shtick is everyone is like, well, what about the general? Have you asked the general? What about, and his ex-wife shows up and she wants to haggle over alimony and all that. And
we have a bowler friend that is nicknamed the General. That's
well, there
funny.
you go. Okay. So something happened with him and the general, and we don't really know what it is, and then finally at the end of this episode, he's, and it's a little bit of a serious moment. He's sort of, he has to humble himself. He's almost, he's kind of on the verge of tears. He has to call and basically beg, for mercy from the general. And the general is his ex-wife. So
now the nickname makes way more sense.
So that's the end of the pilot. And then the first season in a nutshell is they do get the team together and they're kind of playing their way through this league, and they're very good because the general, it was the best anybody's ever seen,
Nice.
But there's obviously a clash there between these two characters. And another guy has been, he's a family man. He loves being a father. Like, he gets slowly, seduced back into that league life, staying late and ripping beers and things like that. So what happens is the three people that my character, Darren, drags back into this league, they all kind of come down a couple notches sort of on that social, moray totem pole. And through a number of circumstances, he actually becomes a slightly better person. And we see this thirst for legacy, for glory, and for accomplishing something kind of, seduce and consume these people in different ways. And nobody's life goes completely off the rails, but the league begins to kind of take over elements of their personal lives as well. So there's comedy in that. And of course, it's all building up to the league championships in the final episode. And by that point in time, our main characters are barely talking to each other, but they have to roll together one last time.
Yeah, it's definitely bowling centric, which is cool to see. It's not just a side note or a footnote to like when John Goodman would be coming home and Roseanne, and he's carrying his bowling bag because he came home from league that night. It's like, there's one tiny footnote in the entire episode that like he's a bowler. Although they did go to the bowling alley a couple of times, but
it's interesting. If you look back, I mean, it feels like almost every show ever has had the bowling episode. I know It's Always Sunny just did it recently. Modern Family comes to mind. So everybody knows that there's comedy there and there's built-in conflict and that sort of thing. But it really hasn't been explored, which is why I think Roland is so great and why the single cam element of it, how we present this world is so important because, we can go behind the pin setter machines, we go out into the parking lot, most bowling centers, they got the billiards tables, they got the dart boards, the pinballs, the bar, the freaky bathrooms, so and
then when you say single cam, for the people that are kind of watching, you kind of like you said, like Always Sunny, I think is one of them. The Office is kind of, I mean, The Office is multi-cam, but they kind of make it seem like it's like one cam where you're like, this is you're inside of this moment.
Yeah, or like most traditional dramas, the way Succession is filmed or, anything along those lines. It's, the world can be anything, whereas in a traditional sitcom like How We Roll, they usually have those 3 or 4 main sets that they're almost always in. And that obviously works for a lot of shows like Friends or Seinfeld or what have you. But for Roland, there's so much nuance and so much detail in the bowling alley. And then, as I mentioned, the league begins to get bigger than the bowling alley. And then we follow these characters back home. We follow them to work and that sort of thing. So,
yeah, I was kind of thinking like in the past, I've kind of thought about how like TV shows are, like you kind of said earlier, kind of always reinventing the wheel type of thing where like I always think about I Love Lucy, where they do the chocolate thing on the conveyor belt, right? And like every sitcom has the I Love Lucy moment, like whether it's some sort of whatever failure or whatever, like they have that like, but it's always the same thing. It's like, something bad is happening and it's just creating a bigger and bigger problem in that moment. It doesn't have to be the I Love Lucy thing, but it's just like, I always think like, okay, this has been done so many times.
Compounding.
Yeah, but like this little thing has always been done, like in every sitcom. It's like I understand what you're saying, where like that's what I call it, the I Love Lucy moment. Oh, this is the I Love Lucy moment because I've seen this a million times, but it's just a different story. So yeah, it'd be nice to kind of see that. I don't know, what do you just how do you describe it? Not live action, but like you're in the actual moment. It's not obviously recorded, which like it's more like The Office comes to mind for me because I'm a big Office fan. But where like you're like just living in that moment. They're aware of. Are they aware of the cameras, or is this kind of like a?
Oh no, it's a straight up, TV show. So
Yeah,
but
okay.
it's just shot very cinematically,
Gotcha.
and yeah, and we every week we're in the bowling alley, but the conflict or the problem of each episode is never really the game. It's not an endless bowling montage.
Right.
There's relationships that are at play here, and there's some side characters. There is the owner of the bowling alley who's trying to just keep his head above water and keep the place open and that sort of thing. And the other thing about this is it's a story ultimately kind of about friendship and these people who have to repair their friendships and come back together. But I do think it speaks to people of our age, who I'm a millennial, who these characters are all searching for, something as a lasting legacy. Some of them have families, some of them are successful in the professional world, but, our generation was sort of promised this American dream, and it wasn't really there for us when we graduated high school or graduated college. And I know that's a heavy, thing to say when I'm talking about a comedy, but that's the underlying thing here is these people of a certain age who are just hyper focused on this strange subculture because this is what gives their lives meaning. And I think the appeal to Roland is much larger than bowling, because I think a lot of people have that hobby or that thing they do after work that they really care about. My wife is in a mahjong league, and she's one of these mahjong gals. People who go golfing every weekend. In Chicago, these dudes play 16-inch softball into their 50s and their 60s, and it doesn't have to be competition. If you want to be the smartest person in your book club, that sort of thing. So it's a bowling comedy. It's a show about bowling, but I think the appeal goes way beyond that, because these are things that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, and everything you said about like the bowling center and everything else, where it's like, oh, the owner or the guy that's creating the team for the league, or the league itself, or just going to the bartender to get a drink, like all of those little interactions, which I know very well about, living in this world specifically. It's like I can already see, exactly what's going through your mind, because I see it every day. The interactions between the owner and the patrons, or in the pro shop, like, oh, I need you to fix my ball because whatever, something's not right. And like there's so many little interactions, and it's like its own little world, right? Like it's
no doubt.
Yeah, and even like you said, the bathrooms, like you go, every bowling alley is different, but like some of them are like arcades and some of them are like from 1950. But yeah, it's kind of neat.
And then it's like, oh, the bartender's not getting me my drink fast enough. Somebody bribed her to slow me down and throw my face. That's where we go. So it's not about the bowling; it's about these people, problems.
So awesome. Yeah, I hope it does take off, because
you've probably thought that a couple times.
Listen, I need my lube juice, ice cold behind me at all times. So I got to get my swing lube going. So I need it to operate.
Water's pretty good for you.
Eventually, a couple seasons in, this core four, they break up, and they're playing on different teams now, and that's when the subterfuge really kicks in of
right.
Sabotage and whatnot.
Exactly. All right, hey waitress, I'll pay you a little extra this week if
tip's gonna look good.
Or like
just ignore this guy.
Two of the guys both have daughters, so another person orchestrates for both of them to come and sell Girl Scout cookies. So he generates this problem on the team with the two fathers, So,
and of course, this is more real world, but of course, they never actually sell the cookies themselves. Why are the parents responsible for selling these damn cookies? They got to bring the kids in to sell the cookies. Nobody. I don't know if you experienced this.
When have you seen?
But parents always are like, "Oh, will you buy so and so's cookies?" It's like, well, she's got to learn how to sell those cookies. God damn it!
Well, that's
you mean when they bring the thing to the they bring it to league, the sign up
sheet, it's the league,
or
maybe or whatever.
out here in LA, even in January, the girls are standing out front of the grocery store and that sort of thing because the weather's good enough.
That's where I get my Girl Scout cookies from, Kyle.
LA?
No.
Oh,
in front of stores where
Yeah.
the children are actually selling it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've had some or seen some girls like out in front of the gas station, convenience store. I'll say, not gas station, but yeah, they get
mini mart.
They put their tables out there, and it's been like March, and it's March here is actual winter.
Yeah.
And it's ice cold, but so yeah, that's good for those girls. Yeah. But yeah, I can totally envision everything you're saying with as far as this show goes because it is so true to life. Like and it's kind of funny because like every bowling alley you go to, except the corporate, even though it's probably still a little bit like that with the corporate centers, but like every like real bowling alley you go to is probably all exactly the same thing. Like nobody's different. Nobody has anything new. It's like meaning like, oh, there's this relationship with this guy and there's this argument going on with this person. You know what I mean? Oh, the husband and wife broke up and now that girl from that other team is now dating the guy from this team. And like, you know what I mean? Like every bowling alley is probably exactly the same.
I think it's unique versions of the same universal truths. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, we got the, I don't know. Are you watching any of the PBA? Are you paying attention to any of the two-handers or the EJ Tackett? Like that. Well, I know you said Belmo maybe is one of the guys, you know?
Yeah, I know about some of those the bigger names. I mean, in another bout of self-promotion, I messaged every bowler and every PWBA bowler I could get my hands on Instagram and offered to send them the pilot script and that sort of thing. So I was keeping track of everybody for a while, but I am aware of the two-hand. It's not really a controversy anymore, though, right?
It's not.
Too many successful bowlers do it.
It is to Kyle.
Okay.
It's a big controversy to Kyle.
It has completely upended the game, but it's not a real controversy anymore because it's starting to slowly take over as the majority. Well, it's not the majority yet, but it is getting there where, you know, some of the shows, for example, last week,
one-hander.
The finals were 4 two-handers and 1 one-hander. Of course, that 1 one-hander is the greatest bowler currently in the world. And
EJ Tackett.
He's almost unmatched and unbeatable, but he has been being beat the last few weeks. But he makes like every TV show.
He's missed one TV show this year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think there will be any younger bowlers coming up who are still one-handed?
It's still going to take some time. Because like my son is one-handed,
few and far between, I think.
Right,
personally,
but I do believe like what was I watching? I was watching.
There's a couple good one-handers in our area still.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if they're gonna try to go pro, but
I forget what I was watching, some junior tournament or something, or maybe it was high school bowling. That's what it was. There was a high school match here, and 50% to 60% or maybe even more were two-handed, and all of them were brand new, had, I'll say, quote unquote, no idea how to bowl, but they can still get close to 200. They're averaging 175, 200, and that part of that's the way the lane conditions are, meaning they if you're not familiar with the oil on the lanes, it kind of guides your ball into the pocket. Whereas in the old days, you didn't have that.
Tried to avoid it.
Yeah, and the bowling balls too. The bowling balls also create that guide to the pocket. But yeah, all of these new kids that would normally put 3 fingers in the ball and have a very long road to success. Now you put 2 hands on the ball and 2 fingers
that road
in the ball.
Is a lot shorter.
Got way shorter. And like as an example, I'm gonna rag on my nephew here for a second. He's been bowling for like 3 or 4 years, and he was like, "I finally got my 300." I'm like, "Finally?
Wait, which one?
You've been bowling for 3? Joey D.
Oh,
83.
Yeah.
It's like you've been bowling for like 3 minutes and you finally got your 300.
Wait,
like,
when did you do that?
Earlier this year. Didn't you get 300 earlier this year? Am I making that up?
Maybe you did.
Anyway, that's kind of the attitude that I noticed. It's like finally got my this or finally got my that.
Yeah.
I've been bowling for 2 minutes and I put 2 hands on the ball and makes the game a little bit easier.
Okay.
I want to add a footnote. The women generally stick to one-handed from what I've
interesting.
seen.
There are
mostly the males that are dominating the two-handed. There are a couple really good two-handed women,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, they are all still one-handed.
It's an interesting point.
Well, I think it's because
Or
there's less
observation.
rev rate, so
Yeah.
you're not trying to compete with rev rate. Because on the men's tour, or I shouldn't say the men's tour, on the PBA tour, it's rev rate dominant. If you don't have rev rate, you're probably not going to do as well as you could if you had more rev rate.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's the way the game's going. It's becoming less of shot making and more of replicating.
More of area finding. That could be. I'm not telling you how to write your show here, but that could be an aspect. You know, the general. Maybe they broke up because the guy tried to go two-handed. I don't know.
They broke up because he's a cheating drug addict. But
well, that's a different story.
That's a way better storyline, Kyle.
No, I've thought about that.
He's
You know,
married to Pete Weber.
when I first caught wind of two-handedness, as
Sorry.
if it's something you're born with. But when I first saw that a few years ago, I was like, oh, that's that's these impure freaks, But
Yeah.
I'm pretty, I mean, if it's within the rules of the game and obviously it's effective, then more power to you. I'm more concerned with string pins versus free fall and that sort of thing, which I'm sure everybody
Now
is.
You are talking.
You
my
and
language.
Kyle would have a lot of beers at a bar talking about that.
Well,
Yeah,
listen, since you don't know, my
Mentality.
my mentality of the game. That's a good way to put it.
Traditionalist.
I'm extremely traditionalist, and that, sure, you could say that there's synthetic lanes now, and there's plastic pins sometimes, and there's resin bowling balls, and this or that. But I don't know where your head's at. It sounds like you at least have a question about it because of you even brought it up or even are aware of it. But yeah, string pins for me, I think it's just not good for the game. It's not if the pins are attached to something, they're being forced to do something they're not naturally going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a physics professor, but it really seems like this is fundamentally a different game if you're playing with strings. It would be like changing the NFL to blacktop, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a foundational aspect of the game. It's got to affect pin totals. I mean, again, if you're a pro and you average 280, who cares? But everybody, I'm a big hockey fan, and everybody benefits from a little bit of puck luck, and those bounces aren't going the same way. The pins aren't. You ever get a roller that goes from the 7 to the 10 and clips one more as the gate's
Absolutely.
already coming down? That's bowling.
Yeah. And I think that luck aspect is good, because it's fun to watch, as a viewer and a spectator. If you're watching the PBA on TV, for example, it's fun to have those exciting moments.
Yep.
And if they did put strings on TV for the strike,
Was it the Strike Derby?
derby, whatever. Yeah.
Did they really?
Stupid. Yeah. Anyway, but there's a difference to me, I think, visually and entertaining wise, when you see the slow roller or a helicopter messenger.
Yeah.
What is it, the Brunswick ones that are really slow?
The machines
pin
or
feathers?
they're a little slower, but
Dude,
there's
some
a
of them
difference.
take so long that you're just expecting you're expecting a messenger to do something.
But there's a difference between a free fall messenger and then when a 6-pin lays into the gutter and the string takes out the 10-pin, you're like,
Yeah.
instead of everybody being like, yeah, it's more like,
Oh, you
Ugh.
carried a flat 10. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ugh, it's weird. And then when the pin's actually rolling towards that 10-pin, like you're saying,
Yep.
but then the string goes, nope. And she yanks it back. So there's a plus and the minus of the striking. The average kind of ends up being close to the same because it takes away and gives you the same amount, but it's just hard to watch.
Spare shooting on the tougher spares is sort of easier depending on who you ask with the strings.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so maybe that's another controversy. You can.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm pro two-handers, anti-string. So
I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
yeah.
At least there's still some shot making needed when you're a two-hander. But yeah, I can.
Ask him how he feels about two-handers after a squat on a Sunday afternoon.
when they're all two-handers. No, the one-handers still kind of dominate around here for the most part. In our area, we're in upstate New York, right by the capital, Albany.
Well, there's not. I don't think in our area there's not too many older.
Oh yeah. Do you guys know where Hanoia Falls is?
No, I've never heard of this.
Oh, okay.
Where's it near?
It's got to be.
I'm told it's near Rochester.
Oh, Rochester.
Oh,
so that's
west?
about 4 hours west of here.
Oh wow.
And actually, Rochester is where the PBA is bowling currently right now, at ABC Gates Bowl, which we have bowled in before. I have not heard of that center out there.
Yeah, Cougar Lanes. I think they're done now. This was like
they're closed.
buddies.
It was a 16-lane bowling center.
Yeah.
My buddy's father-in-law used to run it, I think, and then he had all the extra merch when they closed shop, so I got a free sweatshirt out of it. But
nice.
Did you get any cool things out of the bowling alley?
No, because again, this is in. I've never been to Rochester or anywhere near it. But this was all after the fact. But I shot a bowling project actually once. It was on Roku, which had original content for a time.
Yep.
And it was at this place out here in LA called All Star Lanes. And a lot of these television show bowling episodes were filmed at All Star. But after the pandemic kind of shuttered everything, they had to close up shop, and they were no longer functional. They were just a shooting location. And I was shooting this thing for a couple of days. I asked them, I was like, hey, can I nab a pin? I've always wanted a pin. And I stole one the night before, and it just didn't feel right. So I was like, hey,
so you asked for permission? Had to get the permission afterwards.
And they were like, yeah, man, you can have a pin. We got like 60 house balls we'll never use again. Nab some shoes, nab some bags. So I got awesome. Like completely kitted out because I did the right thing and asked instead of stole. So
I mean, after you stole, you asked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
I stole, but then I brought it back, and I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's something in the Bible about that. So
for sure, for sure.
Karma listens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so one of the things that I noticed, and we'll let you go very shortly here, but one of the things that I notice is that when it comes to Hollywood and bowling, it's not very good. Meaning, you can tell that they have no idea what they're doing based on how they throw it and whatever.
Yeah.
So like, it's for a bowler, which I guess would be probably 10% of the audience, like as a serious bowlers, you can just tell when somebody has no idea. So is one of your requirements to make sure that the bowler looks like a bowler, is a bowler, not is a bowler, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that'll help. I mean, I don't think that's going to be the final round of auditions, but
well, they got to go through the training like they do in movies, right?
Sorry.
They got to go through the training with a real professional, or at least
once we get that Netflix money behind it, no doubt.
That's right.
But I mean, I think about this with the general a lot, and I know there's men and women of every size and shape who are good at bowling, but the general is a very imposing, dominant, powerful bowler, a one-hander for sure. And that really informed how I crafted this character. She had to be strong, she had to be powerful and a little more full figured and that sort of thing. So in terms of the execution, we need people who are slightly athletic, although I will say, because you're absolutely right there, Kyle, I see a lot of baseball and football, and the throws are just what is going on. And I do think a little bit of grace needs to be considered. Sometimes these people have to make sure they're not going to hit the camera or hit the 60 people behind the camera.
Yeah.
I think they're more concerned about that than they are about the realism.
Yep.
Sure. If it's a football movie, they can shoot that and make that all look good. But if it's some throwaway thing as part of a different story, they lose sight of that.
Yeah.
But to your question, like I say, we don't really show the bowling very much.
Right. It's almost like the least amount of part of it. You're just in the life of the bowling alley.
Yeah. But every once in a while, every 5 episodes, we've got a super sick montage. It's very inspired by NFL films.
Yeah.
And that's when we're going to need these actors to execute for sure.
That's right. No conventional grip bowling balls, by the way. They got to have fingertips. Freaking Pete Holmes was throwing a conventional grip bowling ball and had an old rubber ball. It wasn't even current. Anyway, that's where my head's at. That's what I think about when I see these things. I got to think about, he's not a bowler, I can tell.
Well, dude, so not to harp on this, but that's the single cam aspect of rolling. So Pete Holmes is throwing a fake ball 5 feet off camera.
Correct. Yep.
But we're going, we're going to have tracking shots down the lane.
Yeah.
We're going to have cameras in the pin well. So
Mm-hmm.
when there's a strike, you really see that action, that sort of thing. So
yeah, you feel like you're in it. You feel like you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say I wanted to throw this in because you mentioned that not much of Hollywood has put like knowledge of bowling out there while they're there. House had a episode in the bowling alley.
Really?
And they
like that
actually,
old Dr. Show House. Really?
They actually had knowledge. The guy was
Great show, by the
teaching
way.
House how to bowl, and he was talking about access tilt.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
a little.
I just had to throw that out there.
Access tilt is
was a big
little,
House
term there.
I was a big House fan.
I love
Still
House.
am.
Yeah,
and
it's good.
it's the only show I've ever seen in the bowling alley where they're actually throwing out knowledge, and it's a major Hollywood production.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good show. Well, John, we really appreciate you coming on. Where can everybody find you or find out about this hopefully show that's coming up?
Yeah, so I don't know if folks can see my little nameplate here, but I'm on Instagram at Mr. Druska. Also, if anybody reaches out to you guys, you're more than welcome to give away my email address as well. Like I say, I got 660 pages of this thing written. And I'm in LA. I'm plugged in with, production professionals and plenty of actors. So with just a little bit of money behind it, I can get a crew together. We can shoot this pilot. I've also been in correspondence with the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. And I was briefly emailing with Tom Clark of the PBA.
Nice.
So with a little nudge from somebody, whether that's a little bit of corporate money from, Bolero or Storm or what have you, or just an angel investor, we can get a pilot shot, and then I can take that to, some of the producers and the agents in this town and see where we go from there. But reach out. I can send as many episodes as you want to read. I've got a visual lookbook as well that helps kind of paint that picture, even though I think you're right there with me already, Kyle. And I can talk about this all day long. And, most sitcoms have a writer's room. They got 8 or 10 people cranking out, a season's worth, and I'm one guy, and I got 2 years worth of content for you. So
8 or 10 people cost a lot of money too, by the way.
There you go. Yeah. It doesn't. It should cost more because wages are stagnating and it's terrible. But anyway, my point is,
but then you got to pay for it.
all I need for this show is the cameras and the distribution. I've got the show.
Well, with Ben Stiller starting to love bowling, I guess maybe he's got to tune in and
it's a good point.
Damn, that's a friggin' great point.
Yeah, I will say the PBA and Tom Clark seem to make a lot of decisions related around this podcast. Unrelated.
Well, that is true, by the way. Anthony, which is my brother-in-law, he's also the co-host. He says how what direction bowling should go or the PBA should go, and then 6 or 8 months later, the PBA does it. So we had Tom Clark on a couple years ago, and we were telling him about how Anthony's the prophet for the PBA, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, it certainly seems like you do. But anyway,
that's where the nickname The Butcher came
Tom
from.
Clark obviously is connected with Ben Stiller somehow, so maybe Tom can get you in the right direction. So Tom Clark, when you're listening to this episode, you can get Ben Stiller's contact information.
Well, I told you. Well, I guess you guys have his email too, but I've got his email address, so I'll send him a link to this episode.
That's right. All right, John. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, it gets taken off because I'd
be super excited. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the chance to talk about it, and thanks for the hospitality.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, and take care and good luck.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye. John Druska, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it would do well.
I got to tell
personally,
I think it's a pretty cool concept. I mean, the bowling aside, like you said, the bowling is a side note. It's not the actual competition is what I'm talking about. Is kind of like the side note. The life in the bowling alley, seeing how everybody is interacting and the web between all of the lives of the people in the bowling alley, which is I can already see all of the storylines out here. You know what I mean?
The crazy part of the storyline is the making the team and fixing all the issues that they've created or the main character has created through the years.
Yeah,
it's interesting because now I'm thinking what the heck is he going to say to his ex-wife to get her to bowl with him the whole year?
Right.
Like, because I think about myself, like, I'm not going to bowl with someone I hate for a whole season.
Right.
30 weeks? Are you kidding me?
I mean, I feel like the people that have bowled with me have done that.
No comment. I'm bowled the season with you, though. So
no,
I bowled the season against you.
That's true. All right, guys. Well, it is time for us to go bowling. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. Email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. And you can also download and listen via your favorite podcast service if you can't watch live on Facebook or YouTube. Good episode. Good episode. Thank you, Austin. Good show tonight. Thank you to Jack Scatia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes.
Should we thank Anthony? I know
Anthony,
he's not here. But...
Thank you for you being you and not being here tonight. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan. We will see you guys next week. This is Down Lane Podcast.
Got to do it.